In the village of Beit Sahor, in the Palestinian territories, sits the field where the church remembers the shepherds keeping their flocks. The rocky hillside is dotted with caves that would have been used in ancient times to keep livestock safe at night. The animals would have been brought inside, and the shepherds would have slept in the front part of the cave, both to protect the sheep from predators on the outside and to keep the sheep on the inside from wandering out. Imagine then those shepherds, exhausted and filthy from living in such close quarters with their animals, just trying to get a good night's rest, when the sky seems to rip open and the music of the spheres floods into their limited existence. At once, they head out for Bethlehem, just about a mile away, but uphill, to see for themselves what those celestial messengers had meant. And there, in the back part of a cave, with livestock just like the ones they had been guarding, they find a father and a mother and a baby lying in the feeding trough carved out of the stone in the side of the cave. They tell all those who are there with the Holy Family, that is, the midwives who have helped with the birth, the guests at the inn cave who had been staying in the front part of the cave, the folks from the neighboring caves who'd come to see this infant born in their midst. They tell everyone they meet about these angels and what they had told them, and everyone was amazed. The young mother of that brand new baby, in a way that belied her young age, breathed it all in deeply. Her reaction is described in the gospel as if it stood in contrast to the other's reaction. But, the gospel reads, Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. Perhaps it was because of the angel's pronouncement to her when she became pregnant with the child. Perhaps it was her cousin Elizabeth's greetings when they met while they were both pregnant with their holy children. No doubt, though, she cannot have understood the magnitude of what had taken place. But Mary did know that in that night and in her, heaven and earth had come closer to one another than ever before. In her very flesh, divinity had burst into this dimension, tearing down all the walls that separated the two before. God had come near. And in that child, God was with us, Emmanuel. Bless her heart. That sweet Mary, at age 12 or 13, couldn't possibly have comprehended it all. But you know what? I don't either. Don't let all these fancy outfits fool you. In that birth, lo, 2,000 years ago, existence was forever changed. Divinity and the created order could abide together. Nothing need separate them, and never again could anything separate them. The great St. Augustine writes that God has come closer to us than we to ourselves. God has come closer to us than we to ourselves. Ours is a God who is with us, who never leaves us to face our perils alone, who doesn't send the perils and challenges, but who sticks with us through them all. Ours is a God who knows us better than we know ourselves and loves us anyway. Oh, how much we hide from ourselves. We live divided lives outwardly, one person in one context and another person in another. And we live divided lives inwardly, carefully tucking away the parts of ourselves that we don't like, are ashamed to reveal to anyone, sure that we would be ostracized if anyone ever knew our true selves. The things that we've done that we won't let ourselves forget, but keep locked away in a corner of our psyche, festering. Surely part of the mystery that Mary pondered in her heart included the reality that in that infant, God had come closer than we to ourselves. There is nothing about us that God doesn't know. There is nothing about us that God can't redeem. There is nothing that can keep that one who knows us most intimately from loving us. We are loved, and we are not alone. And that is the good news of Christmas. "11 p.m. really is a strange time to come to church. It's been dark for hours. You'll drive home from here after midnight. Many of us are exhausted and will continue to be tomorrow morning when we are awoken early by excited children. Rest is one of our primary needs, yet it eludes us most of the time. Not only are we physically exhausted, but we are mentally tired as well. All the self-doubt, self-loathing, worrying, it all takes its toll on us. The same St. Augustine writes that our hearts are restless until they rest in God. That we can rest in God is also the good news of Christmas. The one who has come so close and knows us better than we know ourselves wants nothing more than to hold us in his presence as a parent does a child. I saw a meme on the internet this week that was a photo of a baby asleep on a parent's lap, and the caption read, "Feel guilty about falling asleep while you're praying? How do you feel when your child falls asleep on your lap?" The answer is obvious. We adore that precious time together, and we want nothing more than to provide the space for that child to rest and to grow and to be fulfilled. What God desires is relationship with us, and relationships are developed by being intentionally present to another. God comes to us so that we can simply be, and in that being, find ourselves made whole. Come then to the manger. Come to this altar and give yourself to that great lover of your soul and find rest. And as we leave this place tonight, might we ponder these things in our hearts and find rest in the God who has come so close and loves us no matter